Hey, Julie.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. We're at AmeriCanaFest. So
I know.
it's awesome.
Good energy, good vibes. You're our first session at AmeriCanaFest.
I'm honored.
Yeah.
I'm honored.
I'm honored. We walked in today and I heard you practicing with your crew and I was so grateful. You just have like such a lovely voice to listen to.
And they're the best. You know, Gibson and Juan, they're rock stars.
Y'all sound so good together.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Florida.
From Florida?
Yes.
Where in Florida?
Yeah, from Tampa, Florida.
Tampa.
A little outside. Yep.
Okay, cool. And what got you from Florida to Nashville?
Music.
Yeah?
Music. Yeah. I grew up loving music. I sang in church and I used to sing at beach bars. That was like my first gig. I was playing at Jimmy Buffett covers and anything you can imagine for all the beach bums in Florida. And then I went up to North Carolina for college, not for music actually, but I just felt so called to making music and songwriting and making art that I just knew I had to try, and that's what brought me here to Nashville 5 years ago and have been here ever since.
Oh, I love that. Would you say the music you grew up playing was more informed by your household or informed by the stuff that you had to play out in Tampa?
I think it's a good mix. So speaking of that, I'm mixed.
Such a good segue.
I was like, that was not planned, but I'm really grateful for the diverse array of musical influence that I had growing up. My mom, she played a lot of 90s country, like only women though, no men. I had no idea that men did country music for a long time because that was all that we listened to. We listened to the Chicks and Shania Twain, Trisha Yearwood, Martina McBride. Like I remember when the Chicks were kicked off of country radio, I was so mad that we had to like write a speech in my fourth grade class, and I wrote a speech about how I was so mad at George W. Bush because he got my favorite band kicked off of the radio. Like I was such a little like political little kid. But yeah, I grew up just listening to those women who were like, you're ready to run and born to fly and chase your dreams. And so that was kind of one side. She also played a lot of like Indigo Girls and a lot of folk like John Denver and James Taylor. And then on the other side, like my dad, we listened to a lot of like Temptations and Prince and Michael Jackson and Luther Vandross and all of that, and all in the same like car ride.
Good taste.
Yeah, so it was really just like this beautiful introduction to music and introduction for me into like different ways to bring emotion through songwriting across genres. So while I now live in the Americana country lane, I'm really not afraid to say, hey, let's put this Motown bass line in here. Let's to just really play and have fun, because that's what art's about. And then just let the genre and everything that comes after.
Somebody else can figure that out.
Someone else can figure that out, how to market it.
Right.
But if I'm too in it thinking like, oh, what is country music radio going to want? What is this going to want? Then I'll never make the art that feels really like me.
Totally. You're pigeonholing yourself.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
For those who might not know the Chick story.
Yeah.
Could you remind us what happened? It was like 2004, I think, when it happened.
Yeah. So, we had a president at that time who made certain decisions, and we were in a war in the Middle East, and the Chicks were playing a show. I believe it was in London. It was not in the U.S. And the Chicks are an incredible country trio, and they were like at the top of the charts at that time. Like you have to understand, like they were dominating the charts in the in late 90s, early 2000s. A lot of women were. I mean, you think like Faith Hill, Shania Twain, like they were way up there. Like the women were running country music.
Totally.
And they were at a concert and they said that they were ashamed that the president came from the same state that they were from, which was Texas. And it blew up. All of these people were getting death threats. People were burning their merch. They got kicked off of country music radio. They got like blacklisted in country. And at that time, and even still now, country radio is king. That's still one of the primary ways that people listen to music, and that really was the way then. So if you kick someone off the radio, you have cut off their ways for fans to discover them and listen to them. So
Totally.
Yeah, it was a really crazy time. I remember even myself, it was like around that time, even in my like elementary school, I remember like I was one of the only kids of color at my school, and like just the political conversations, even as we were like really little, that we were having like in like first and second grade. I remember like when I said that I vote, like we had to do the voting in the election there, and I told someone that I was going to vote for the Democratic candidate, and somebody was like, "You can't do that because they're going to raise taxes." And I was like, "I don't know what taxes are." They're like, "But I don't know either, but it's bad and they're horrible." And so I was like, "Oh my God." Like it was just, there was such, and I think it's even amplified now, but as such a young kid, like I was hearing certain things and in the environment that I was around, but then I was really lucky to grow up in a family that really encouraged me, I think, to think for myself and to listen to all of that music despite. So yeah, I remember like driving to school on this like 2-lane like back road, listening to like Not Ready to Make Nice with my mom with like the windows down, just like screaming it, which is their song that they wrote after this all happened. And then they won like album of the year at the Grammys. It was like this huge moment. And I remember like, "I'm not ready to make nice," I'm like screaming it out the window like when I was really little. And yeah, just that was really my introduction to music and to country music. I definitely went away from country music for a while because I didn't know if I really had a place here. But there's a really incredible growing community of artists of color that are here in Nashville and doing Americana country folk. That it's a really exciting time to be a part of it. So I'm excited.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think it's also kind of fascinating that what the Chicks had to go through in such a public way had this trickle-down effect on the younger generation at that time.
Yeah.
And created almost a warrior out of you and like our class of musicians to then go and work to correct what they kind of went through.
And they're not the only ones too. Like Chelly Wright came out as queer and was blacklisted. Like there's been so many artists, women, that have been told who, when they speak out, that's not what we go for here. And then there have been career repercussions of it. So I feel like there's, as you said, like this growing folks that grew up with that and are kind of like, it's 2024 now. It's, we want to change. And there's been a lot of progress, and there are some really amazing people in the industry that are trying to change it for the better. But
totally,
there's still those gatekeepers and those things. But you just got to make art despite it.
Oh, I'm very excited to be having this conversation because I've been knee deep in just educating myself on the scene because I am a member of the Beehive. And Beyonce put out her album today that famously calls back to the CMA performance with the Chicks, where they were so cold to her. CMA awards just came out. Beyonce wasn't nominated for anything for Cowboy Carter. And the whole album is kind of about reclaiming the roots of country music.
Yeah.
And I think what's particularly interesting about that conversation is that so many people these days don't see it as something that needs to be reclaimed because they don't know where it comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And so have you been able to, what have you discovered about where you come from that helps connect you to the scene now and also like makes you want to pave the way forward for other people?
Yeah, that's a great question. I do think that creating music is, it really is such an internal reflective practice, at least for songwriting. And I think for a long time, I would think about like I should write a poppy song, or I should write a song that's about this, and really looked more to the universal. But kind of, I didn't even realize that sometimes when you write about like the most mundane little things, like in the Remy Wolf song that we just sang, it's like, I'm an empty drawer, not borrow your socks anymore. Like that's such a tiny thing, but it means so much. You're like, oh, wow. And so kind of really turning inward and looking at that mundane, and you really see the power of your own story. And I didn't do this song in the Salt Lake, but I have this song called Southern Curls. It's about my hair and
Love
kind of
Southern
my
Curls.
journey. What was that?
I love that song.
Oh, thank you. You. Yeah. And that was like my journey to love my hair, because it was a long journey for me, and really just love myself as myself. But the song is super personal. All the details are just very specific to me, but it's really cool to see that in that people can hear their own stories. And so Southern Curls for me was that kind of returning home, discovering kind of like my roots and moving forward. But I think something that I love about Cowboy Carter, and is with some people's criticism of it, they're like, that's not country, that's not whatever, And like Beyonce herself will say, she's like, this is a Beyonce album. And I think something that's so powerful about it is she, in returning to her roots, which is what you should do when you make art, there's so many incredible influences that go in it. And yeah, I learned so much listening to that album and the discourse around it and conversations. And I really think that she kind of highlighted and brought to the mainstream some of the conversations that have been going on for a long time in country music, and really amplified some and put a spotlight on some amazing artists like Shabuzi and Tanner O'Dell and Brittany Spencer and folks. So it's really cool to it's really cool that the conversation is happening now. Now it's just like, okay, like how can we move this forward? And I think something that I'm going to take away is that I don't ever want to be put in a box. I want to say the similar thing. If someone's like, that's not a country album, like, it's a Julie Williams album. I'm going to, hold on to that. So
all the way.
Yeah.
It's very fun to be on the front lines with people that feel like they're in this movement of kind of reclamation of this stuff. And it feels, to me, I feel like authenticity is really shining through right now as people really come to terms with who they are, where they come from, and then how that connects to who they want to be. Yeah. And I just love that. I love seeing that in you and your music. Like I said, I'm a fan of Southern Curls.
Thank you.
I think it's fascinating that sometimes the more kind of granular we get with our experience, the more it seems to broaden how it can affect people. Yeah. It's kind of a weird inverse thing that you wouldn't expect to happen.
Definitely. Yeah. And even it's funny, we're talking about Southern Curls, and that's not even the song that I did here. Right. I did this other one, Dirt, which kind of relates to that in that I wrote it about constantly thinking of how I was being perceived by other people. And I'm like, I am a people pleaser to the max. I used to, like, with my little brother, I used to purposefully lose games. Like, we'd be playing a board game or something, and I'd purposefully lose because, to me, the satisfaction of winning was worse than the potential that he would be upset. And I remember I did that with a current partner, and they were like, did you just purposefully lose? And I was like, I think I did, because I didn't want you to be upset. They're like, why would I? And those sorts of things. And kind of just trying to shed that way of thinking. And as an artist, it's there's constantly that pressure to think of what other people want you to sound like, to look like, and really trying to get away from that. Yeah.
Oh, well, no, you're good. No, you're good. We got to get it out. Julie, I'm so excited that you came in.
Oh, thank you.
I hope that you can work to celebrate your wins.
Yes.
Because we're celebrating your wins.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And we'll get there. We'll get there in the end. I can't wait for more Julie Williams projects.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I like to end with a squeeze.
Oh.
Squeeze. Yeah, you're the best. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Hey, stunning people. If you're loving our music, make sure to give us a like and a subscribe. And comment below who you want to see next.